Thank you.
Information about our network and to check out additional show hosts and topics of interest, please visit voiceamericaempowerment.com. The Voice America Talk Radio Network is the worldwide leader in live internet talk radio. Visit voiceamerica.com. The views and ideas expressed on the following program are strictly those of the host or guests and do not necessarily reflect the views and ideas held by the Voice America Talk Radio Network, its staff, and management.
Are you ready to live your best life, be stronger, and fall in love with yourself? It's possible and it's within you, but you need to unlock the power within. Welcome to Fearlessly Authentic with Jody Harrison Bauer. Jody is now living the best life ever, but it took some stepping out of her comfort zone. She's going to show you how it can be done. Here is your host, Jody Harrison Bauer.
Hello and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Fearlessly Authentic. I am your host, Jody Harrison Bauer, and I'm so happy to have you join us once again for the show that educates, empowers, and inspires you to go live your life fearlessly authentic. And today's guest is just so fearless, and I cannot wait to share her story. We have known each other for 3 years, but never have met. A friend of mine told me about her company, and we just connected really, really quickly. It was one of those super organic alignment things that the universe gives you. And the other thing I just wanted to preface before anybody is like listening live, and I hope you're all listening live all over the country, all over the world. I want to thank everybody from all over the world who's been listening to the show, and hopefully you are taking something away that is inspiring and making your life more fulfilling, because that is what I'm trying to do with this show, with myself and my guests, trying to make that difference in your life. And so what I wanted to say before we start talking to beautiful Lacie and her wonderful company is that there might be some expletives that we use, not super horrible, but if you've got a little kid around, you may want to put on your headset, or you might want to just have them do something else. So they're not really bad words, but I'm just giving you a heads up. So I want to tell you a little bit about Lacie, who is just an really impressive woman, and I am reading this because I don't want to forget anything. Today, we are joined by Lacie Marsh-Carroll, who founded Malicious Women Candle Company on her kitchen counter in March, only just 2017. That's crazy, Lacie. Today, she is sharing with us how she turned her real life shit show and darkest moment in her life into a movement that's empowering and supporting women through creating unapologetic, sassy, 100% soy fragrant apothecary style candles that are labeled for every malicious occasion. I love that. In just 3 years, Lacie turned her candle hobby into a multi-million-dollar empire. I love this. Lacie, I'm just so happy for you. She now has 17 employees, 2 locations. Can we give a woo-woo? And is living her dream every single day. It hasn't been easy, but it has always been worth it. I should be wearing my reading glasses. In 2020, she rebranded and expanded Malicious Women Company to clothing, cosmetics, and is now about to launch her housewares collection. She is on a mission to bring voice to all the things polite society doesn't want us talking about. It's about living outside those boxes that society wants us to live in. Welcome, Lacie.
Thank you so much, Jody. Wow, that was quite an introduction. Wow, yeah. You were one of my very, very first wholesale customers. You contacted me, you were introduced, and it was the first time that we had ever thought about doing custom candles. And so we did a whole line of custom candles for you. And yeah, you were one of the first ones to take a shot on me. So thank you.
I remember looking at your website because a friend of mine, Kelly, she's listening. Woohoo. Hi, Kel. And she said, these are a riot. You need to check them out. And I was rebranding at the time from my fitness studio. So I wanted to bring a different feel to it. And I just thought, what the heck? And I remember I was leaving my therapist's office and I pulled into this driveway, this random driveway, because you're on the West Coast, I'm on the East Coast. And we just had the greatest conversation. And you were telling me about what you were creating and what you were doing, but you still had your full-time job. So, and you did create a Jody Fit candle for me. And we went through all different kinds of, you're like, okay, well, you need to create what it's infused with. And I thought, oh, that's a lot of pressure. I don't know. I'm not that creative. But let's start from the beginning, how this whole thing started. Let's go from exactly where this whole idea came from.
Well, I like to call it my accidental candle company because unlike I think a lot of entrepreneurs, I never set out to build a business. That was never my goal. It was the late part of 2016, and I found myself. Um, that was just a really hard time for my family.
Okay.
It started with my sister. We're a year and 2 days apart. So my
Wow.
closest in age sister, and she was riding her motorcycle and was hit by a farm truck on a country road, and was airlifted to Seattle. And I thought, oh, how's our family going to deal with this,
Right.
right? And then 2 weeks later, my father, brilliant engineer, actually my mentor, the reason I became an engineer, I was a quality engineer, aerospace,
Wow.
and he fell off a ladder and suffered a traumatic brain injury, and he wasn't expected to live through the night. And so there's my sister and my dad are both in the hospital
At the same time.
at the same time.
Holy cow.
And then my daughter, who was active duty Navy at the time, was hospitalized down in Oak Harbor. And so you had three, three very immediate family members about 2.5 hours apart in a triangle. And, I was trying to, be there for my mom and help, coordinate those benefits and doing all these things. And it was, it was tough. And then but throughout all of this, my dearest friend Laura, she had always been battling depression her whole life. That was always something that was her battle. She was a warrior and she battled that. It took her pretty fiercely. So in the middle of this, I flew to Germany to sit with her for a week, and then when I got back, you know she lost her battle and
So
lost her
sorry.
life. And
I'm so sorry. So you had so much going on, people you loved so dearly, dealing with so much. And how did you deal with this?
well, I didn't.
Okay, that's
I
really
I was
honest.
Yeah, I was really just gradually melting down until my boss at the time invited me. That was his words. I invite you to take some time off. So I was put on a leave of absence, and
Tell us
I
again,
broke.
you were an engineer, you still are an engineer. I mean, I know you're not doing the job now, but your job was as an engineer doing what?
I was a quality engineer. So what I did was I worked globally for a major aircraft manufacturer, and and audited quality systems, inspected parts, completed testing, things like that. So yeah, it was a great job. I loved my
I
job.
remember you telling me you loved it.
Yeah, I loved what I did. It was always something new and engaging. So yeah, after I was invited to take a leave of absence, I was broken. I didn't get off the couch. I laid there for a couple weeks, just eating bowl after bowl of Captain Crunch and drinking red wine from the bottle, right? And
What
then
a delicious combination.
I thought so. I thought very nutritious, and yeah, it's all about, you know, well, at that point, it was all about volume. How much could
Yeah,
I, numb that pain?
right.
And then my husband at the time, he how husbands are. They gingerly, walk up and say, hey, baby, maybe a shower wouldn't
Shower.
hurt,
Yeah.
right? And maybe some therapy, and let's get you some help. And So he really encouraged me to go and reach out and get some help. And, I saw the therapist a couple weeks, and she finally said, you need a hobby. You need to do something. You have to get off the couch. And so my husband bought me, and I thought to myself, I want to make a candle. I want to make a candle for my friend. And I want to honor my friend with a candle.
So the whole idea
So,
of the candle, you weren't a candle maker, you
oh,
were an
never.
engineer, but the
Right.
idea of creating this candle in memory
Of my friend.
of your friend, that's where the idea of the candle came. Okay. And
That is correct.
interesting that your therapist told you to find a hobby. I really like that idea that she told you that, you know, therapists come up with these things, and I think that's why it's so important to seek therapy, whether you're in a good place, dark place, or just
Absolutely.
you're dealing with life as it is. And last week we talked about therapy and going whether you're not in a good place or not. So but I just love that idea that she said go find a hobby. So you decided, I'll take up candle making.
Well, yeah, I've got to make a candle. How
Yeah,
hard could it be?
right.
I had no idea how much science was involved in candle making. So my husband, he got on the Amazon and got me this little candle making kit, and we made a candle, and it was horrible. I didn't like it. It wasn't good enough, right?
Mhm.
So I said, Joe, we need to do another one, right? So and Joe was right there by my side, right? He didn't leave me alone, and I
Oh,
think that's what's really important when to talk about is when somebody is going through a hard time is just don't leave them alone. They're going to say they're fine. They're going to say go away, whatever. But he didn't leave my side. So we made these candles.
Lacie.
And well, yeah, we've been married 21 years. So um,
Congratulations. That's
thank
wonderful.
you. Thank you. So we made another one and still, no, wasn't good enough. And eventually, the engineer brain kicked in and it
Right.
was like, how can I make a better candle? I want pure soy. I want long lasting. I want it to smell up the entire house, right? Like these are the things that I'm, you know, thinking about. And I got 30 hours of burn. How do I get 35? How do I get 40? So I just kept testing. Well, what happened was
Wow.
ended up having a house full of candles.
So you wanted
And
something super aromatic
correct.
that, when someone would walk into your house, it would smell like, let's just say, apple cider. I don't like the smells of things that smell like food personally. But yeah, you want it to be super aromatic, but also not leave a dark spot on your ceiling, right? Which is what
Correct.
the soy does. What the soy does not leave that dark circle on
Correct.
your
Yeah,
ceiling. So
paraffin does that.
you
Yes.
ever have to sell your house, you won't have dark circles all over it.
Right.
So you
Right.
wanted it to burn even longer because you started catching on to something.
Yeah. Well, I wanted this to be the perfect candle for Laura. Right.
Mm.
So Joe, ever the loving husband, says, hey, babe. Um, I think you might want to, go back and chat. We got a little obsession happening. And, I went back to the therapist and she's like, yeah, that's called, transference. So, little therapy word.
Yes, yes,
And
so true.
yeah, so therapist said, okay, new plan, new idea. You're going to throw a party. And I'm like, I'm not throwing a party. There's nothing to celebrate. I hate everyone and I hate just a full blown meltdown, right? Like an infant toddler meltdown. But I also like to follow rules. So I said, fine, I'm going to throw a party, but it's going to be a blank show. Like
You
a,
can say it. I gave them
okay,
I told
okay,
everybody
all
there might
right.
be some expletives. So I want you to be you.
All right, thank you. Because I was really nervous about how I was going to apply
No,
this
I
filter.
told everybody at the beginning of the show, if you don't want any
All
swear
right,
words,
okay,
take your kids out of the room or just, put on your headset. So go for it,
love
Lacie.
it. So I said, fine, it's going to be a shit show. And so I invited my circle of trust over, and we talked about, just everybody has their shit,
Yeah,
right? No, and their shit is as important to them as it is to me, as mine is, right? So
right.
we came together, we drank wine and we did crafts and we all talked about our shit. And then we wrote our shit down.
Could
And
I
then
just
we sat,
interrupt you for one
yeah,
second? What do you mean crafts? So I'm not a crafty girl at all. And if, I've referred to Kelly already a few times. Kelly knows I'm not a crafty girl. So what do you mean? Like what kind of crafts? So you were going to have a shit show party with
Right,
wine, of course. It
right.
would include wine.
And I have it here.
And
Yeah.
you,
We made bangle bracelets.
oh,
So I got these little blanks and some stamps and just stamping words of empowerment onto these bracelets, right? So picking a word that described, your situation that night. And I chose warrior. It's also, what I have tattooed on me. And so, yeah, we were drinking and, just talking and but the most powerful part of that night was when we wrote our shit down,
yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And then we all went out into the backyard and we set it on fire. We set all of it, and then we'd let that shit go. And because I had so many candles,
Yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah, right. You had all these
right?
candles all over
I
the
had all
house,
these
right?
candles
Yeah.
everywhere. I mean, we're not talking like 4. We're talking a lot of candles. I made these little funny labels, right? And I was like shit show, and I wanted to infuse it with chaos because everybody was going through that. And I chose this typeface, this font of this typewriter font because Laura loved typewriters and she was an avid reader, and it was just kind of my way of honoring her. And I put Malicious Women, Candle Co. as a joke because Laura and I would always we talked or texted every day, and we would always tell stories to each other about what was going on in our lives. And we would always say, oh man, how when you like know the perfect thing to
Right,
say
right.
after the fact, we're like, oh, I should have said that, as if only I was a little more malicious, right? That was kind of our thing. And so as a joke, not a joke, but just kind of a tribute,
Yes.
I just went Malicious Women Candle Co. shit show infused with chaos, and I gave them to my friends. I was like, oh my god, thanks for coming, and here's a little candle, and they
Yeah,
were
and it completely described what was going on in your world at that moment. Like at that moment, we take pictures, we do all these other things, but that gift you were giving your friends who are sharing all their crap with you, um, their most inner feelings because they felt that it was a safe place to do it. And you're like, oh, by the way, I have all of these candles, so why don't I just put a label on it? And you know, I want to know like where the word malicious came from because it's not a word you hear all the time. And obviously it means, that you're being mean, but you weren't being mean. Did you feel like, so where did it come from? I always wanted to ask you that.
well, like, again, yeah, it came from the conversations that Laura and I had
Okay.
about everything that we would have said if only we were a bit more malicious.
Right. Because you were always trying to say the most society
Polite,
polite things.
right,
And instead you thought, oh, damn, if I could be more malicious, if I could be more honestly malicious about
right,
what I
and
would
say what
say.
I want to say
Ah, I love it.
without just rejecting all of
Yes.
those expectations that society has for us, and just say, you know what, you are being a blank,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
And, right?
Yes.
No, I don't need help with the math, sir.
Sorry.
Whatever. But yeah, you can't say that in the corporate world, right? You
No.
always have to filter yourself. So it was, so that was it.
You gave everybody a candle. They threw in
Yeah,
their thoughts because you had all these candles. And then
right.
what happened after that?
Okay, yeah. So then they went, "Ah," right? Everybody stopped in their track and they're like, oh my God, these are great. I'm like, oh, thanks. And so they posted it on Facebook, right? And people were like commenting, and they're like, you should post it they have this like little community garage sale site here, the
Right, right,
Snohomish
right.
Besties.
Yes.
And so they're like, you should put it up on the Snohomish Bestie Facebook group. And I did. And then I didn't think about it, right? Everybody went home, we hugged. And then all of a sudden I'm getting sold 1, sold 2, sold 3, sold 27. I was like, oh my gosh, people want a candle with the word shit on it? Like, what?
Right.
And so I was like, okay. So Joe and I, and my husband and I, and we made some candles and we delivered those orders. And at that time, they were picking them up from my front porch,
Mhm.
and I felt like, wow, I got some stuff done, right?
Right.
And then I was like, I should make another candle. And so that's what I made my, bitches get shit done candle, because I was like, I just got all right.
I
I
just
was
got all
super
this shit
happy.
done.
And then I posted it up on the bestie site again, and then it's like, sold one, sold 27, sold 46. I was like, what is going on?
Right.
And it just kept going. I kept coming up with new labels. Casey, my daughter, she, we would sit there and think of new labels, and I opened an Etsy site, right? I was like, I'm gonna go on Etsy and sell candles.
You're
And
so
I'm still working full time, but
yeah.
now I'm like, I'm living again. I'm off the couch.
Right.
I'm, I'm doing something to honor Laura.
And you're
I'm
doing something
engaging with
that's
my family. And
right, right. You're off the couch. You're like not eating so much Captain Crunch anymore.
right.
You're still drinking your wine, but like the Captain Crunch and
So,
wine aren't necessarily going together anymore. But I feel like what you're saying is that you're feeling productive again. And
yes.
it's in a different, really creative way. And did you feel like Laura was in there with you saying, go Lacie, like you got this girl?
She was always my cheerleader. I still can't put on a cardigan without thinking every time we talk on the phone, are you wearing your cardigan of power? Because I was corporate, so I had to wear a cardigan. She was always a huge cheerleader, and really just, yeah, she would. I know she sees this. I
I
know it.
absolutely know. Well, you know what? I wanted to show you that this was I don't have my Jody Fit candle with me, but this is one of the first candles I bought from
Oh,
you.
that is some OG MWCC right there.
It says F it, scented with lavender and just F it. And I actually sent these to my daughters too. And they're like, what is this, mom? I'm like, this is like the next best thing that's going to be out there because this woman just says what's on her mind. And that, so once you realized, and we talked, blah, blah, blah. So once you realized you were onto something, you were onto Etsy, your daughter's helping you come up with all of these things. I mean, the things you come up with, honestly, like, I don't even know where you come. I mean, you're so creative.
It's literally life. We're just taking the life that we are all living and putting it on candles. And it's, I'm, oh, oops.
Oh,
Oh,
don't burn yourself.
but this is our, the boss lady candle. And,
That's an
that
early one. That's one of your earlier ones, right?
yeah. And, that came up with just feeling like a boss lady, and it's infused with hustle and caffeine because, um, it takes hustle. Yeah. And yeah, cheers. Caffeine.
Cheers. Yeah, hustle and caffeine.
And
Absolutely.
and we just take whatever is going on in our lives and we put it on candles and we infuse it with that little bit of extra sass. Typically the infused with portion is the stuff that society doesn't want you to be thinking or doesn't want you to be saying.
Right.
um, so that's how we do it.
And I think one of the
And what
reasons that we aligned so well, we resonated so well was even though when I met you were still in your first place, you were still working full time at this major company. And, you know, I remember just thinking that this is going to be big for you. I mean, I just felt like you were onto something and that you had such audacity to like put the words on a candle that people want to say. And I think that's why it was easy for people to purchase the candles because you're like, well, I'm not going to go around saying this, but I can certainly have a candle in my house that says it. And it's just so like in your face and it smells so good. And
thank you.
it's just, I think people you gave, and I was wondering if eventually was it that you realize I'm giving people the permission to say what's on their mind, empowering mostly women. I know you make candles for men too, but in our society, it seems like women feel like they need the permission. Not, and I say that in air
No, you're
quotes,
right. You're
but
absolutely
it's
right.
almost like it's okay for, and I'm not men bashing because you and I both love men.
Yes.
So this is not at all, but it just feels like in our society, women have to watch what they say. And if they have a candle that could say what they're saying, that's cool. And I think it gave so many women that feeling of empowerment to say, holy shit, I have this really cool candle that says
Right.
exactly what I'm feeling. So you know what? Read my candle.
Yeah, yeah. The new read my lips is the read my candle. Yeah,
Yes.
no, that's exactly what it is. I think I was the first company out there that was willing to put the full word on the candle, right? I mean, there's always these little snarky things, but I didn't filter, I didn't asterisk. I
Were you
put
nervous about that? Did you get any
no.
flack from? No, you
Oh, I
weren't.
get flack all the time. I
Okay.
get emails all the time. Oh my God, your candle is really disgusting. And how could you put that on a label? Well, because
I
I
did.
want to.
I
Yeah,
did. Yeah. And
because
I
it's
think
mine.
so many women don't have the balls to just do what they want. And I'm again, I think one of the reasons that we connect so well and align so well is because you're doing it through your candles. I'm doing it through maybe putting a picture of myself in a bikini, not to say look at me, but say, hey, look, we don't need to feel like grannies just
No,
because we're in, I don't know how old you are, Lacie. It doesn't make a difference. But if you're in your late 40s,
24. No.
you're 24. Yeah, I'm only 39. So
Oh
I'm
my
going to
God,
be
great.
I'm going to be 60 in December, and I just don't let
45. Yeah,
anybody tell me how I should dress, how I should feel, because if we keep listening to the boxes that society wants to put us in, how are we ever going to grow?
exactly. And here's the bottom line is every single candle that I make it for me. And then I share it with others.
Right.
So this is really, I mean, we're still doing therapy here, right? So if something resonates with one of my customers, it's because it's coming from a real and honest place. It's not, I don't make candles to try and, sell them.
Shock.
Yeah, no, 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 no. There's plenty of companies that can do this. All of this is it's real and as you say, authentic. I wouldn't make a candle that I didn't believe in personally. That's
And I think so much of when somebody gets an idea for usually starts out as a hobby, and then you realize, well, so many people are resonating with it, and I'm going to be my true self. And I know that even with my fitness business, I'm myself. I talk about sex. I talk about why do you want to feel better, look better in your body. And let's be honest, we all want to look at ourselves naked before we get in the shower or wherever we're getting naked and say, uh-huh, yep, I do me. And we have to be honest with
right.
ourselves about that. So we're going to be taking a break, and I want to get back to how your candles have been empowering women and taking it to the next step, and where your company is right now, and all the fearlessness that has gone into this company. So hang in there with everybody. We will be back in a few minutes after this commercial break.
Thank you.
All right, we're clear.
Whew.
So we're still live on Facebook, just so you know.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Good to know.
And so how do you feel?
Good. I feel good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot less terrifying than I thought it was.
Yeah, no, you are a great speaker, and I didn't know if there was, we're going to talk more about the expansion of your business. I really felt it was super important for people to understand where this came from and getting to know you, as we discussed earlier, and talk about, doing epic shit, doing things that scare you, COVID, and all of those things, and where the business
Okay.
is right now, and then you wanted to give a promo code at the end, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we
That's
will
gonna
do
be
that. And Aaron, the sound is good. I don't know if he can hear me right now, or if he is doing
I
something
hear
else.
everything. Yes, you sound good.
Okay. How many
that was
more?
so
Do we
creepy
have
in my headphones.
we
We'll
can't
be
talk
back
about
in 1
Aaron.
minute.
1 minute. Okay, cool. I
You
want
can
to talk
talk about
about,
me, but I might talk back.
okay. I want to talk about wick envy.
Ah, yes.
Are you
Yes.
comfortable with that?
Yes. And that's part of my SFD model that
Okay.
I talk about
Okay,
when,
so we already talked about shit show and everything. And so we're going to talk about how your business has expanded, and Wick, Envy, and your new lines, your expansion, and COVID.
okay.
How's that?
I love it.
You have so much to talk about.
I know. Okay. My jaw exercises.
I still have to pee.
Of course.
30 more minutes. I'll
Hi,
hold
guys.
in.
We can do this.
We could do it. We could do it. And then I'll ask if I forget.
20 seconds.
I shouldn't forget, but I have it on here, how people can reach you, so you can let me know.
Right now.
10 seconds.
Thank you.
It's the least I could do.
Oh.
All right, ladies. Sounding great. Here we go.
Thank you.
You are listening to Fearlessly Authentic with Jody Harrison Bauer. We'd love to hear from you with any questions or comments you may have. Send an email to info@jodyharrisonbauer.com. That's info@jodyharrisonbauer.com. Now, back to Fearlessly Authentic.
Hey, you guys. Welcome back. We are here with Lacie, the founder of Malicious Women Candle Company. And it has blown up, you guys. This is Lacie. Say hi, Lacie.
Hi, Lacie.
And I met Lacie 3 years ago when she started this business, and she was working full time, had a 300 square foot warehouse that she was making candles, handing them out, selling them from her front porch. And then where are we now, Lacie? Give me an update on where the company is right now.
Right now, I have just opened, we just moved into our second location, 7,500 square foot manufacturing facility.
Holy shit.
I know, right? It's crazy. I still just sit there and it just this attitude of gratitude, and it's like, how, like, this doesn't happen. And so
it just came from your heart. It came from your heart. That's why.
And I think that's it. This has never been about money. This has been about doing something different, doing something that would honor Laura, and then also, giving back to the National Foundation for Suicide Prevention. So every single candle that's sold, we give back to that foundation. And it's important because I don't think, that we there's still that shame and stigma associated with mental health, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
so by talking about this, my anxiety, a lot of words, but talking about, the anxiety girl candle, or, seasonal depression, and all these different things that we touch base on with my candles, is again giving voice and trying to just reduce that stigma. So I think through that, we started out on the Etsy shop and quickly outgrew that. Then I thought, well, I need a website. So I taught myself web design. It was not the best website, but, started a website. And then before you know it, we needed help. And because it had taken over my garage and my dining room and my living room. So I brought in Samantha, and Samantha's been, we call her part of the OG crew. Samantha came in and working out of my dining room while I was going to work. And then we needed more help. And then Carrie came on board. And then we outgrew my house. So we rented 1,000-foot shop, right? Well, Lake Stevens, Washington. I was like, holy moly, we got 1,000-foot square foot shop. And then we grew out of that a year later. And in 3 years, we grew out of the 3,000 square foot shop. So it just keeps growing. I think people just really understand the mission and why we're doing this.
Clearly they do. And as we discussed before the break, that this gives women and or men the opportunity to say what's on their mind without it coming out of their mouth. They use the candle to be their expression, whether it's in their job, I have my Jody Fit candle, or if it's in their workplace, or if it's in their home, it's in a bathroom. It just says something about who that is. It's just like clothing or the way you wear your hair or your jewelry. So now you have this candle that says, don't screw with me because I'm a mother effing, hustler.
I do what I want.
Right. Whatever you want it to say. And by the way, Lacie created a Jody Fit candle for me. I don't know if, do you do personalized candles anymore, or are you too busy to do that?
Yeah, we should. Yeah, it's a custom candle option, so people can, you have friends that are going through divorce. You have friends that are struggling with, homeschooling and going, this whole COVID nightmare. And so, they may want to have their specific little. We see a lot of inside jokes. We assume they're inside jokes, right? Um, so people can put that on a candle, and then their friends can light it and let that shit go.
Yeah.
Um,
I saw
and it
your
could be
I saw your
good.
COVID candles. And of course, I knew as soon as we went into quarantine, I knew immediately you were going to have a candle out there. And it took you like no time. You pivot so quickly. Tell me about how you're able to do that. And so the space you're in is now 3,000, or you're moving into the 3,000 square foot place, right?
7,500.
Oh,
Yes. So we moved
7,500.
on
Sorry.
Friday. Yeah. So quarantine was really tough, but this goes to the credit of my family and the amazing crew that I have. I cannot express enough how amazing this crew is. So we go into quarantine, we're shut down. We're phase one, right?
Mhm.
We can't manufacture candles. We can't do anything. So we took that 3,000 square foot and we brought it back into my home.
Wow.
And every single one of my crew members who are part of this crew because they believe in what we're
Yeah.
doing, right? We're a family. We're like just
You are
incredible
a
crew
family,
of,
right?
there's nothing we don't know about each other. But they made candle labeling stations in their home. They made, they were pouring, and we would do porch pickups, and we were still shipping and labeling and still making it through COVID, which a lot of companies couldn't, but that goes to the dedication of my crew, the patience of my family, because turned around and we're back to making candles in the dining room again. And but we did it. And I wouldn't be here without my crew. That's without my family, my crew. um, it is it is such a malicious community in the best possible way.
Yeah, like kindly malicious. I feel that we
Mhm.
can't ever grow unless we have the right people in our circle of friends and in our circle. So if it's our business, it's that circle that we surround ourselves with that are like-minded. They believe in our mission. They believe in what we're doing. They believe in the empowerment. They believe in everything that you're doing. And you couldn't have somebody there who says, this is really dumb and I'm not comfortable with these words. Okay, bye-bye.
Right. Yeah. You just,
It's a
and
free world.
that's part of how you build a business though,
Yes.
too. If you hire really well, but you also fire quickly.
Yes.
And, the minute you, and everybody has, had that coworker that, you wish you didn't have to work with. But the management just keeps that person around, and we don't do that here. If we start to notice that somebody doesn't fit in with our mission or our family, we have to invite them to leave, because my crew and morale is so important. We couldn't do what we do if we had an environment that that wasn't conducive
Well, I
to
think
mental
that
health.
I think you even do a candle with this. Is it's the toxicity of that human being. And yes, I've experienced that as well, where the toxicity of one person permeates a room and it brings the morale down. So you've
Oh,
just
it's
got to
awful.
say, there's the door, got to go, because it comes from the top. So it comes from you, it comes from me, and that's the culture of
Right.
your company. And so that says so much about being quarantined. I was in phase one also, so I was closed down March 16th,
Mhm.
and we pivoted to digital. You pivoted to your dining room.
Right. We had to. We had to come up with products and something that my crew, because I didn't want them on unemployment. The unemployment program was broken here in Washington State.
Mhm.
And so how do I keep them employed? Right. So we came up with these DIY candle kits where people could pour their own candles at home with their kiddos, and or their not their friends, because we were in phase one, but
With their
we
kids.
marketed it to those moms who are trying to homeschool. And we marketed towards math and science and reading, because there's and people really responded to that. And so we were able to make those kits at home and ship them out. And so that was,
You do
yeah, it was so amazing.
you do so many great things. One of the things I know we touched upon when we first talked, and I wish I was as creative as you. Um, I know you have a bunch of different lines coming out, but I want to first talk about wick envy. Can you expand upon that? Because I'd never heard that
Yeah,
word. And we talked a little bit about how comparing is never a good thing. And since
right,
both of us have been in therapy, we both know that the comparing game never turns out to be a positive thing
right.
for us. So let's talk about wick envy.
Well, it wick envy um, is so it's what it sounds like. It's I'm a candle maker.
Right.
It would be weird if I didn't follow other candle makers. And I think it's really easy to get caught up in that rose gold, perfect curated Instagram theme, and you're looking at what everyone else is doing instead of minding your own business,
Mm.
keeping your mind focused, spending all that time looking at what everyone else is doing. And it's real. And I think it's very important to remind myself, okay, Lacie, that's wick envy. Stop it. Just stop. You're
Right.
doing your business. My Instagram is, y- it is as raw as my emotions. It's not curated. It is whatever I'm feeling. I'm put it on Instagram.
But
Um,
that's what people love about you. And, you were fearlessly authentic before the word fearlessly authentic became a catchphrase. And, we talked about the word authentic, and we'll get there. But, the things that people love about your company and about you is that you don't BS anything. It's just, it is what it is. Buy my candle if you dig it. Don't buy my candle if you don't dig what I'm saying. And I'm going to move on. But I think that when we follow that passion, and it's the same thing with me when I'm training people, if I'm going to tell you like it is, no, you're not going to lose 30 pounds in 1 week. No, not
well,
going
that is disappointing. Stop
it's
it.
not going to happen, and we have to follow these, this protocol, or
Right.
what it but it's and when we do, and I'm guilty of comparing myself, and I think every woman out there, and it never ever turns out well. So we have to go back to, who am I, or who is my company? And your company is a reflection of who you are. So who am I? What am I doing? And look at all the love that I'm getting, that I'm giving, and I'm getting back because I'm making a difference in somebody's life and empowering women. How focused are you on that female empowerment?
That's all I want to do. That is literally the whole point of what I'm doing every day. I It is so important to me that women, I think spending 22 years in corporate,
Mhm.
and feeling less than, or being the only female in that conference room, or asking to set up the meeting because I am, again, the only female when I'm lead on this project.
Right.
I'm so focused on sharing that message of, you know be you, be strong, be bold, be brave, be a warrior. And it's okay. And you may piss people off, and I do, I piss people off. But if you're living in a way where you can go to sleep at night and say, you know what, I said what I wanted to say.
I
And you
know.
don't have to use the F word. That's not
No.
what I'm saying at all. But to start finding that voice, and that's really what I'm trying to encourage. Um, you know, Women
We need
do it.
more
Use your
people.
voice. Find that power, that strength that comes from being a woman. We have an incredible gift and strength. And I want to encourage my employees to find their voice. And my all of the women in the Malicious Women crew, and men,
Mhm.
um, you know, all of the I'm gonna rebrand it, but it used to be my tribe, right? The Malicious Women tribe.
Right.
I'm thinking Malicious Misfits might sound
Yeah,
better.
you mentioned that, and I really like that. I
You don't
really
have to fit
do.
in.
But I also like the word family. I refer to my Jody Fit world as the Jody Fit family. I always
Yeah,
have, just because I like alliteration. I just like
Alliteration
alliteration.
is fantastic.
Isn't it? I know.
Fantastically fun
I
for
fantastically fun for Jody Fit and
family.
Fabulous. So it's, I don't know. I mean, even with my kids' names, I used a little bit of alliteration,
Absolutely.
but it's it's giving, again, when I did Sports Illustrated last year and doing my Instagram, it's about not, again, like what you're saying, you don't have to use swear words, you don't have to use the F or the S or the D word, but this is how I express myself. And if it resonates with you, and if you want to throw on a bikini or you don't, it's not about putting on the bikini, and it's not about working out hard, and it's not about always eating healthy, although it is a good thing to eat healthy. But it's about doing what feels good to you, that makes you feel good, to throw yourself out into the world. And that's what, it helps for me to get inside the minds of the people that I train, to know really what pushes them. And I think having a candle that says so much just gives them that simple way to say, again, this is me.
And it's
So
okay.
with, and I, women empowerment, I just we need more of that. So now, so it's not just candles anymore. I
Right.
remembered
Yeah.
last year you came up with a few more items. I was like, whoa. So tell me how your business is expanding. Besides its space, what else are you bringing into the company? You said you rebranded in 2020.
We did. We dropped the candle. So now we're just Malicious Women Co.
Mhm.
And I wanted to do something crazy. I was sitting at my vanity and I was getting ready for an event that I didn't want to go to, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm putting on my lipstick and Joe, he's sitting there over there in our room. And I was like, I'm putting on my lipstick. I said, I should call these bitch sticks because I just feel like I'm a bitch right now and I don't want to go and da 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 da. And then Joe goes, well, why don't you? And I'm like, yeah, why don't I? And so then I spent the next 11 months really working on a cosmetics line and testing and designing. And I wanted high pigment colors, but I really, and quality, because again, quality, that's my number one. But I really wanted to focus a line of makeup on the real reasons that women wear makeup. Look, we have fine lines. Okay, that's not going to change.
Right.
But we're painting our faces for a reason, right? We're going to battle. We're warrioring.
We are
That's the word.
worrying on. We are, we're
Worrying.
warriors. Yes.
And so each one of the cosmetics has a story about why I created, that specific palette or that contour, that glow torch, whatever it is that I'm doing. And so each one comes with a story behind it. And, then we ventured out into clothing now. And, so we have this
Yeah,
line of clothing.
give me an example of like some of the names for the clothing and what you're creating.
Well, okay, I'm going full malicious here. So,
Okay.
we've trademarked bitches against bullshit because we're done. We're fed up. We're tired of it. And so now women can wear
I want
these
that shirt.
I promise you, I'll send you one today.
Thank you.
But we can stand up and proclaim, no, 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 we're done.
Yeah.
Like, so tired of all of the BS that
Yes.
we're, you know, what are people trying to control of ours today? Like,
Right.
um, we have jewelry now. We have these beautiful bangle bracelets that were inspired from that first night craft show or that craft party that, the shit show
The
that
shit
started
show
all of this.
party. Right. Yeah.
And so I have one that's a shit show VIP bracelet. And, it's got arrows at the end of each bracelet just to remind you to keep going, right? Don't give up. It's going to get hard.
Yes.
Just keep going. And, I cannot sit here and say in the last 3 years, I have not wanted to just crawl in a corner and cry. I actually do crawl in corners and cry, but,
Now,
it's hard.
what makes you cry? And I know you're very grateful for the success that you've been having, but I'm like, what keeps you going and what does make you cry? Does it just get to be overwhelming?
It's not the work. I could
Okay.
work 20 hours a day. It's if I feel, and I'm just gonna be really authentic here
Yeah,
and tell
please.
you that, it's when I feel like I've let people down.
Oh.
If I feel like I've let my crew down, or if I feel like I have let my family down, if I let my fans down, my customers down, that's the last thing I ever want to do, is to make, um, if we have a broken candle arrive, I literally put myself in that person's shoes and think,
Mhm.
gosh, they're so excited to get this candle and it's broken. Or, if somebody on my crew's having a hard time, or I'm not spending enough time with my family, then, it's, um, that's the stuff that hurts my heart.
Mhm.
Um, but no, I love what I do, so I could work. I get accused of working too much.
Yeah, you know what,
Not enough self-care.
right, it's you're
Air
right. We
quotes.
talked about the self-care, but you love to work. And when we're working on something that we're really passionate about, I think we can work forever. And so would you say that you are somewhat of a perfectionist?
Yes,
Okay.
hands down.
That's yeah.
Yeah.
So part of the candles is, being a little bit imperfect, right? Because we need to say those things. So do you have candles that talk about being perfectly imperfect?
Well, that is actually trademarked by Beautiful Disaster.
Okay.
I
I've heard
love,
that.
yeah, I love her line. I love what she does. She's, if I could have, I don't know, it's not wick envy, but it's clothing envy. I just think she's an incredible business boss lady.
Mhm.
Um, but no, we absolutely have, one of the ones that was just coming to mind really quick is, it'll just be me and my social anxiety, right? Like, um, uh, we celebrate those imperfections. I do want the product itself to be great. If someone's going to drop $20 on my candle, I
Right,
want them to have the best possible candle. Um, and I think we can produce perfect products,
right.
but we don't expect people to be perfect. I think,
I
you know,
and I right, and I think that's what your candles do. They empower us to know that we might strive to be perfect, but what is really, in the true sense, what is perfect? It's perfect for what we feel in our heart, and we
mhm,
don't need to be perfect. We need to be progressing, and it's not always easy. It's not easy at all. Um, and we were talking about the Insta perfect life too when we talked about
right.
your Instagram, that when we do look at Instagram, sometimes we do, you know, wow, her Instagram looks perfect. But I think when I look at your Instagram page, I say it totally reflects who you are and what your company is about. And that's what I love about it.
Thank you. Thank you. It's too much pressure. I think it's
Yeah.
way too much pressure to be perfect. So I removed that a long time ago. So I just post what I post, or post what I'm feeling,
Yeah.
and I try to be as honest as possible. And but yeah, I think that's all we can do, and try to surround myself with um, beautiful people that are trying to do the same thing. And
I think that's a
mm,
really, really good point. And I adore you, and I know that you are a fearless woman because you picked yourself and your husband helped you pick your butt off that sofa and make those candles. And I wanted to know, and we've talked about the word authentic and and perfection, but in your own words, what does, fearlessly authentic mean to you in your own way?
I think authentic means to me, just doing all of the things that come into my mind, and keeping it really focused on my why. Does what I'm doing honor the name? Does what I'm doing honor Laura? Does what I'm doing support my mission and my heart and my dreams? And stop. I try so hard to not look at what everyone else is doing, and to just be me. And if I get flack, then I get flack, but I get lots of feedback, but just keeping going. I just try to keep going, and just doing what speaks to my heart, and even if
Clearly.
other people don't agree with it. So,
Yeah, I mean, and I hope that everybody who's listening understands that it's so important that at any stage and at any age in your life that you do honor your own heart and your own mind, and that you're not afraid to be you. It's so important, and your candles just speak of that, and your clothing line, your makeup line, everything. I can't wait to try the makeup line too. How can I think you said you were going to offer something
yes.
to the people listening, and how can people find your company? So those two things.
Yes, maliciouswomenco.com, Malicious Women Co. on Facebook, Malicious Women Co. on Instagram. And then, yes, coupon code Jody, Jodi, for 10% off your entire order. And yeah, I hope everybody loves the products as much as we all enjoy making them.
Lacie,
So,
thank you so
thank
much for your
you.
generous heart, your openness, your honesty. Thank you so much for being my guest. And, everybody who's listening, go out there and live fearlessly authentic. Thank you for joining us. And if you love this show, please share, subscribe, and spread the love, because that's what we got here, guys. Lots of love. Thank you.
Oh, love you.
Love you. Mwah.
All clear. Great show, ladies.
Thank
Whew.
you. So
All
we're
right,
off the
Jody.
air, but we're still, let me get off live, stop the live stream. Okay.
All
So
right, Jody. Have a great week. I'll talk to you next week.
thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
You were great. Thank you so
It's
much.
just you and me right now.
Yes.
Oh my God. Whew.
I made you think a lot, didn't I?
You sure did.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
It's a
All right.
lot. It's a lot.
It's okay.
I've been listening to the Calm app lately, and LeBron James talks about getting ready for a game, and I didn't know that I had this mental toughness until I started competing in my late 40s, and then I realized, wow, this is more about you have to have the physical fitness, but you have to have the mental toughness. And at 12 o'clock, no matter what the hell is going on in the world, I shut down and I focus only on my guest. And I focus because it's all about you. And I'm so glad I gave you, you're going to be exhausted. You're going to need a glass of wine after this.
I know. But that was exhilarating. Thank you.
You were fabulous. So this is a great, I'm going to stop the recording right here for a second. Hold on a second.